Nigeria, with a population of over 160 million people, is a very peaceful country known for its rich human and natural resources. This explains why so many surveys by some notable international scientists and institutions in the past have described Nigerians as one of the happiest people in the world. However, the coming of the Boko Haram sect to the northern part of the country has created fear and tension among Nigerians, especially those living in the northern part of the country. The present administration under President Goodluck Jonathan, who inherited this war against terrorism and insurgency from his predecessors, have been working tirelessly to make sure that terrorism becomes a thing of the past.
The president had said he was going to adopt all approach in solving the problem, and he basically came up with the carrot and stick approach of dealing with some of these insurgents that will eventually take in. And I want to tell you sincerely that the process is yielding a lot of results. As some of those people who have actually allowed the process to de-radicalize them have actually gone through the process and have been resettled.
On the steps and strategies of policing adopted by security forces so far, the immediate Task Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Frank Mba, throws light into it.
I think I must admit the fact that it's not been an easy ride, and nobody should expect that it is going to be or it will be an easy ride. But the good thing here is the fact that we've remained committed. We are keeping up the pressure, and our patriotism, our strength, our total commitment to duty, and the general goodwill of Nigerians will prevail over the plot of the few terrorists and evil ones among us. Again, the Nigerian security forces today are developing new capacity. The Nigerian security forces and intelligence community today have a better understanding of the modus operandi of Boko Haram, their tactics, their set objectives, and their criminal antics. Nigerian citizens today have equally reawakened to the consciousness of the fact that the fight against terrorism is not just a fight for the security forces alone. Today, the intelligence community, the security forces capacity within our security forces has improved tremendously. New skills are being acquired. The curriculum of our police training schools and colleges and staff institutions are being expanded to include new subject matters that were hitherto untaught. New gadgets are being acquired to help security forces deal with the trending and emerging security threats. There is a greater sense of interagency, coordination, and collaboration that were hitherto unseen. Today, there are so many joint operations going on, massive intelligence sharing, fusion centers, joint operations room, joint control rooms, joint intelligence centers have been set up, and the security forces have all come to the realization that no single agency in Nigeria can do it alone.
As administrations kept changing, there's been a lot of commitment in terms of acquisition of technology, capacity building. You know, now you can sit here. In fact, recently, we have been able to introduce geospatial intelligence also. So I would say that gradually terrorism has brought in a new change into the security sector, because equipment that naturally and normally would seem impossible for Nigeria to purchase they have been able to purchase them and they are still purchasing them. And so because I know the level of equipment we have, I said that we have actually gone a long way in winning the battle. You can imagine if we were unable to trace or track people or actually locate where criminals are, what would have happened?
Some of these strategies and joint actions have started yielding results, as the government have been able to identify some push factors and new ways of tackling terrorism, which led to the arrest of some of the arrowheads of the dreaded sect, like Kabir Umar, also known as Kabir Sokoto, Zakari Mohammed, and the recent arrest and extradition of Sadiq Oguche, one of the masterminds of the Nyanya bombing, from Sudan to Nigeria to answer for his sins.
We have just successfully been able to secure his extradition from Sudan and he's back to his home country to answer questions. The usual procedures will take place. He will be interrogated appropriately and charged to court when the processes are concluded.
As a way of preventing misinformation, disinformation, and speculatory messages, especially as it pertains to insurgencies and terrorist activities in the country, the federal government set up the National Information Center, which is the official voice of the government.
Well, the committee was set up to be given information which in the past people were not getting, and there was a lot of complaint that nothing was happening. In fact, so much so that people believed that the government was doing nothing. But I am sure since the inception of this committee, a lot of water has passed under the bridge. And we know that the federal government is irrevocably committed to prosecuting this war, and it is succeeding by the day.
We have a mandate and a duty to do, to inform the public through the media of what government is doing. And this is what we have, in our own definition of the terms of our mandate, been doing. We are grateful to God that we're able to discharge this responsibility to the best of our ability.
Some Nigerians are not still very clear about the roles of the international forces that came to help in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria.
Globally, the Nigerian Armed Forces have been acclaimed and adjudged as one of the best and highly professionally trained force. They are rated about 5th or 6th in the world at the moment, and that's not a mean feat. So it wasn't as if the local forces weren't doing anything or didn't know anything at all. They had capacity, they had capability. What came to them in terms of international support were enhanced surveillance capacity, because most of these countries have experience in handling terrorism issues, so which we never had. It's new to us in this dimension and magnitude, where citizens will be involved in the, in bombing as a primary weapon of insurgency. So the international partners are actually supporting the Nigerian Armed Forces, who are in the lead of the crusade to ensure that we stop insurgency in its track. They are supporting with ideas, they are collaborating one way or the other within operational limits, within strategic limits, and within useful information limits that will assist in the fight against insurgency.
Some Nigerians react to the situation the way they feel.
Trying anywhere. There's no way Boko Haram will win the war. Government, we must win them. They are trying, but they need to try hard. They need to add more, put more effort to make the Boko Haram to come to an end. We, an individual, should be our security to ourselves, which most of us are even doing, even as of now.
So far, so good. No, this type of problem is something that you cannot say how to stop it. But we know we were quite sure to understand that our president, our government are doing their best to see that they stop something. But they are trying by their best, aside.
It's trying, but the problem, like this Maiduguri cases, is very terrible situation compared to the report we have seen in the paper and to the people that have been there. So there need to be serious security, especially in the border area.
all I can say for now is that the government is trying. Security is not only in the hand of government, it's in the hands of everybody, both at the state level, local government level, even in our houses. We should really have to be careful. So you see, the security men, they are doing their best. They are not magicians. I don't understand me. So the Boko Haram, they are just there to destroy, but we don't know the reason. So people are saying that they are out here to break up the country, but I don't think their main purpose is to destroy the country. I think their main purpose is to see how they can bring military back to power. It is a ploy to see how military can come back to power on the excuse that the civilians are not competent to manage this country very well. You see, I think the government has all it takes, all it requires to contain the excesses of Boko Haram. I don't understand me. We just pray for them. We just hope that they come up with new techniques, new strategies to checkmate this blood-sucking human being called Boko Haram. It is pathetic. It's so painful that we are losing millions of people on a daily basis. So they should come and tell. We don't even know their reasons for the killings, taking of innocent lives. To me, it's pathetic, and I don't know what to say. I'm confused. They should let us know what they want or what they need.
What do you say? The government of Jonathan is the best that this country will ever have. And why I'm saying this, because if you look at what Jonathan has done to this country, you remember the past leaders, they've not done even 1/4 of what Jonathan has done. They thought that they will overrun Jonathan, but Jonathan is winning, and we are winning. I am not in the government, I'm an estate valuer. So I am praying to the northern elders to talk to their boys to stop this nonsense, because it will lead us to nowhere. At the end of the day, they will be the loser. 20 to 30 years, they will not recover from what the Boko Haram is doing to them. So it's better for the leaders to think. Let them think twice and stop them from all this destruction. Well, what I will advise the government to do is to continue with whatever they have, the little they have, to fight these insurgents. I will advise the government to continue to dialogue with the elders of the north, not even Boko Haram. Let them call the northerners. The northern, like the Jonathan did sometime, they did with Sultan and his group. Because they know these boys. They know them. So it's only them that can stop it. Not even dialogue will stop these boys, except the north decide to stop it, and they will stop it. That's all I have.
The challenge of legislation to prosecute offenders is still one issue that security personnel have to grapple with.
I think the National Assembly has done very well in terms of passing the terrorism bill, which of course is operational now. But the problem we still have is with judges to accept to sit and listen to some of these cases. So you find out that the process is a little bit slow. But that notwithstanding, we have successfully had up to about 6 convictions so far. So I think it's actually working, but we need to do more.
But you must understand that criminality is a very dynamic enterprise. Just like the society is dynamic, men and women involved in crime are equally continuously involving new strategies to beat security forces. But it is the duty of the law enforcement agencies to continue to equally develop strategies to counter the new strategies that the criminals are actually involved in. One thing at the end of this terror war, one positive thing that would have occurred is the fact that capacity within our security forces has improved tremendously.
The federal government has also taken steps on what some Nigerians refer to as the long silence of our neighboring countries and the fear in some quarters, especially Nigerians in diaspora, about the outcome of insurgency in the country.
Well, whatever has happened is in the past. With the meeting in France and the various meetings, bilateral and multilateral meetings taking place between Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, Niger, I think that one has been nipped in the bud. All the presidents have agreed that Boko Haram is a threat not only to Nigeria, but also to them. Recently they were in Cameroon, and you can see the havoc they unleashed on Cameroon as a country.
Well, like any situation of this nature, you would expect some reluctance, some skepticism, especially when the terrorist activities and threats have not become really visible and clear. So Nigeria was fortunate that it noticed this trending threat earlier and decided to reach out to a number of them to support it in the fight against terrorism in the sub-region. And that has been successfully achieved with the coming together and acceptance of countries within the sub-region to support each other in the fight against insurgency. And it also gave rise to the establishment of the Regional Intelligence Fusion Unit, which is based here in Abuja, to facilitate information sharing, experience sharing, and coordinated activity approach towards the fight against insurgency generally in the sub-region, and mostly in Nigeria, where the threat is much more evident and threatening, communities.
Definitely we are winning the war. When you consider that Nigeria is our home and that we have no other place to go to, I would say that we are winning the war. The system, the government itself has shown a lot of commitment. When terrorism crept into the country, it took us unawares, because as Nigerians, we all know that we are a life-loving people. We like enjoyment. We just like fun. The few instances we've not been able maybe to nip it on the board, it's just like a football game, the goals that the goalkeeper is able to stop, nobody, praises him for it. But just the one goal that will make his country to lose the match is what everybody would depend on and begin to criticize. So that's what is happening basically in Nigeria. But to say that we are not winning, we are actually winning. If I have to give percentage, I'll give 5% to the insurgents and 95% to the Nigerian government and security forces. All we need is the people's support. And that is why we have also backed our technological acquisition and capacity building with security awareness and sensitization of the Nigerian people. We must, begin to adopt new systems of doing things. You must be wary of your neighbor. If you live with a neighbor that you don't know, you can't even recognize the neighbor, and the neighbor cannot recognize you, it should worry you a little bit. We must keep an eye over our words.
Proactively stopping so many attacks. If only Nigerians know the number of IEDs that have been destroyed through controlled detonations by the police bomb disposal squad, the number of attacks that have been proactively averted, the number of Boko Haram, high-profile Boko Haram commanders that have been arrested and currently in custody and helping out in investigations, the number of funding channels that have been destroyed, they will appreciate the progress being made. But the truth about terrorism is that if you prevent 100 attacks and one attack unfortunately occurs, it throws up a huge question mark on your competency and your capacity. We want Nigerians to know that in spite of these sporadic attacks, huge progress has been made in the war against Boko Haram and those forms of violent crimes in the country.
Nigeria is a great country. There are challenges, but it's just a phase that will soon pass if we work at it.
Basically, I've always said that we are Nigerians, fun-loving people, people that are determined to conquer the world and to place ourselves prominently on the globe. That we are not terrorists, we are Nigerians.
Well, I am sure our forces, our security forces, are more than ready to prosecute this war. Nigeria is a safe place, even with this insurgency. Not to talk of, after the war, and I know we are going to win this war.
But above all, I want to reassure them that what is happening in our country today is just a passing phase. We will walk past it. Nigeria is one indivisible entity, and it will remain one indivisible entity.
I just want to assure citizens wherever they may be, those who are proud of the colors of Nigeria, to still stay focused and remain with their beautiful colors. We are currently facing a challenge of insurgency, but that is not the end of Nigeria, and that is not to say that we should walk away from it. There is so much that is being done to fight insurgency. What the government needs, what citizens need, is us, all of us, standing together hand in hand to say no to terrorism, no to Boko Haram. They should release our girls so that they can go back to school and our lives will be normal once again.
Let's join hands to make Nigeria great again.
I thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Muhammad and Mecca. Sade. We can never repay you, but from our hearts we like to say that we thank you. Thank you. Our soldiers, our agents, our airmen, our officers, we can never repay you, but from our hearts we like to say that we thank you. We can never repay you for the legs lost. We can never repay you for the arms lost. We can never repay for the lives lost. But from our hearts, from our hearts, well done, Ashe, Nagode.